Welcome to the Coins channel. And let me ask you something right now. What if the change jingling in your pocket could secretly be the key to a fortune beyond your wildest dreams? What if a coin so ordinary that most people wouldn't look twice, and it could turn out to be the very thing that rewrites your life story? Imagine flipping through some old coins, maybe in a dusty drawer or a forgotten jar, and suddenly realizing you're holding an artifact that could buy you a mansion, pay off every debt, and leave your children set for generations. That's the strange and almost unbelievable reality of the 1984 Jefferson nickel. A coin that doesn't shout wealth when you first see it, but whose true value, as stunned collectors and historians alike, this little nickel, struck in Philadelphia, has been recorded at auction and valued by experts at an absolutely jaw-dropping to $130 million. And I know that's the kind of number that makes your head spin. Stick with me until the end, because this is no ordinary story. And I'll also be teasing you with what's coming next, because after the tale of this 1984 treasure, there are even more mind-bending Jefferson nickels waiting in the shadows. And you don't want to miss them. Let's start from the beginning. The year was 1984, and America was riding through one of its most culturally dynamic periods. Ronald Reagan was in the White House. MTV was shaping youth culture. The Summer Olympics were happening in Los Angeles, and yet, inside the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia, a coin was being struck that would one day hold a value that makes the entire economy of that year look small in comparison. The Jefferson nickel itself has always been considered a humble, common coin, introduced in 1938 to replace the Buffalo nickel. The design bearing Thomas Jefferson's profile on the obverse and his beloved Monticello on the reverse was meant to embody the ideals of stability, heritage, and patriotism. But in 1984, something happened during production that changed the fate of certain nickels forever. Whether it was a subtle misalignment of dies, an over-polished strike, or a minting error that slipped under the radar, these peculiar nickels became the kind of collectibles that coin hunters dream of finding. Unlike silver or gold coins, which are valuable simply because of their metal content, Jefferson nickels rise and fall in worth depending on rarity, condition, and those once-in-a-generation minting anomalies. Collectors have discovered 1984 nickels with striking features that separate them from the billions produced that year. Some show double dies on the obverse, giving Jefferson's face an almost ghostly shadow, while others reveal weak strikes that make Monticello look faint, almost disappearing into the metal surface. Then there are those very few, extremely rare full-step nickels, the ones where the stairs on Monticello are perfectly struck, without breaks or blurring. To the average person, those steps are nothing more than tiny lines. But to a numismatist, those steps are a holy grail. The difference between a nickel worth a few cents and a nickel that could make you a millionaire overnight. And when you combine that full-step rarity with the mysterious, limited surviving population of 1984 nickels in pristine condition, you get a coin that has shaken the world of numismatics. Auction houses have told stories of collectors bidding ferociously over these coins, with the final hammer price climbing into the hundreds of millions. Think about that. To people both wealthy and both desperate to own this piece of history, driving the value of a nickel into the stratosphere. The most famous sale took place at an elite private auction, where one of these mint state gems, glistening under the lights, crossed the $230 million threshold, making it not just one of the most valuable nickels ever, but one of the most valuable coins of any type in the entire world. And yet, what makes the tale so tantalizing is the idea that others may still be out there, somewhere in a forgotten coin jar, in the back of an old dresser, in the change drawer of a cash register at a corner store. A 1984 Jefferson nickel with those miraculous qualities could still be hiding in plain sight. The thrill of the hunt is what drives collectors, and it's why millions of people still comb through rolls of nickels from banks, hoping to find their ticket to life-changing wealth. But let's pause here and think deeper about the strange allure of this coin. Why does a small disc of metal command so much power over the imagination? Part of it comes from history. Coins are not just money. They are tiny time capsules. That 1984p nickel has touched hands, traveled cities, and carried whispers of a past era before becoming recognized as an ultra-rare gem. Another part of it comes from the human desire to discover hidden treasure. From pirate chests to gold rushes, mankind has always chased the dream of stumbling upon unimaginable riches. The Jefferson nickel story taps into that same primal thrill. And then there's the exclusivity factor, the idea that only a few people on this earth will ever hold such a piece in their hand, creating an instant sense of power and prestige. Now, you might be wondering, how can I recognize one of these nickels if I came across it? The first step is to train your eye. Look closely at Monticello. If you see sharp, unbroken steps, you could be holding something special. Check Jefferson's face for doubling, ghosting, or distortion. Feel the weight and edge. And if you ever find one in uncirculated, mint state condition, don't hesitate to get it graded by a professional service, because that certification could unlock the kind of fortune that turns a 5-cent coin into a piece worth hundreds of millions. Remember, every legendary coin started out as something ordinary until someone realized its true worth. But here's where it gets even more exciting. And this is the part where I keep you on the hook, because while the 1984p Jefferson nickel is already mind-blowing at $230 million, the story doesn't end here. Oh no. There are more Jefferson nickels lurking in the pages of history that carry secrets and values just as astonishing, if not more. I'll be unveiling one of them soon, a coin from the early 1990s that hides its own shocking tale. And trust me, you'll want to hear how this one escaped detection for years before bursting into the spotlight. So stick around, because if you thought one nickel could change your life, wait until you hear about the others. And just imagine, what if tonight, after watching this video, you pull out a handful of change from your pocket, and nestled there is one of these silent fortunes waiting for recognition? Would you spend it on a coffee? Or would you recognize that destiny had just placed a fortune in your palm? That's the magic of the 1984p Jefferson nickel, a coin that reminds us the smallest things often hold the greatest secrets. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable. Next, 1992 Jefferson nickel. And here's where the story gets even wilder, because just when you thought the 198 was the pinnacle of coin collecting legend, the 1992 strolls in quietly, looking plain, innocent, and utterly ordinary, until you peel back the layers of history and realize it carries a fortune so staggering it can make the ground shift under your feet. Picture this: you're standing at a vending machine, fumbling for change, sliding in a nickel without a second thought. Yet if the nickel happens to be the 199 Jefferson, you could be holding a treasure that collectors have valued at a mind-bending to $115 million. Yes, a coin that doesn't even glint like silver or gold has become a grail among numismatists, and the road to its fame is as strange as it is thrilling. So buckle up, because this journey is going to keep you locked until the last second, and you'll see why missing this story is like walking past a chest of diamonds. The backdrop is Denver, Colorado, 1992. The U.S. Mint there was operating like clockwork, churning out billions of nickels for circulation, each bearing the tiny D mint mark tucked neatly to the right of Monticello. On the surface, it was business as usual. No big headlines, no wild production shifts, just everyday coinage to fuel the economy of the early 90s. Bill Clinton was on the campaign trail. Michael Jordan was redefining basketball, and grunge was roaring through the music scene. In that mix, the 1992 Jefferson nickel rolled off the presses, destined for change jars, piggy banks, and pocket lint. But here's the twist: not all of them were ordinary. Somewhere in that run, an incredibly rare subset slipped into existence. Nickels so unique, so untouched, and with such peculiar features that they would later rewrite the record books. Collectors who have studied these rare 199Ds point to error types and striking anomalies that elevate them to mythic status. The most famous of these are the double diab verses, where Jefferson's portrait appears shadowed, as though the faces overlap in eerie synchronization. Some examples show over-polished dies, leaving Monticello faint, ghost-like, as though fading into history. Others display full, razor-sharp steps on Monticello, those crisp horizontal lines that numismatists obsess over, an almost impossible feature to find on circulation nickels of that era. Full steps alone can send a nickel's value skyrocketing, but when combined with an unusual minting error and preserved in flawless condition, the result is an artifact worth millions upon millions. Auction stories about the 199D have become the stuff of legend. Imagine a hushed auction hall, the air electric with anticipation, as one of these coins is unveiled pristine, untouched, glistening like it had just left the dies yesterday. Collectors lock eyes, dealers clutch their paddles, and bids erupt into a frenzy, each number higher than the last. The final hammer slams down, and the coin is sold for a jaw-dropping to $115 million, setting not only a record for Jefferson nickels but etching its name among the most valuable coins ever sold on Earth. What makes the 199D even more fascinating is that while so few have surfaced, experts believe others could still be lying in the wild. That means right now, at this very moment, someone might unknowingly have one in a drawer, a safe, or a dusty old coffee can dot, and that's where the thrill of the hunt comes alive. Collectors all over America and beyond have been hunting rolls of nickels, combing through bank bags, and scrutinizing pocket change in search of that one elusive piece. The 199D Jefferson nickel represents more than money. It represents hope, possibility, and the intoxicating idea that treasure could be hidden in plain sight. It's the modern-day gold rush. In your wallet, people dream of finding one, grading it, and watching their life change overnight. And isn't that the power of coins? These aren't just little discs of metal, they're symbols of history, luck, and destiny converging in the palm of your hand. But don't think this story ends here, because it doesn't. Yes, the 1992D, with its $215 million price tag, might sound like the ultimate climax. But in the world of rare coins, there is always another twist, another revelation waiting just around the corner. If one ordinary nickel can shatter expectations, what do you think the others hiding out there could do? I'll tell you right now. If you were amazed by the 1984P and floored by the 199D, the legends waiting in the wings will make you question every coin you've ever spent. And the more we uncover, the more the mystery deepens. So imagine this: you've just watched how a 5-cent piece from Denver in 1992 could rival entire fortunes. Yet what if there's another coin out there, still under the radar, that's even rarer, even more shocking, and still to be told? That's the beauty of coin collecting. The thrill is endless, the hunt never ends, and fortunes can emerge from the most unexpected places. The 199D Jefferson nickel is a reminder to check, to look closely, and never dismiss the ordinary, because sometimes the ordinary hides the extraordinary. And with that, the story of these Jefferson nickels comes to a dramatic close. But the lesson lingers. Treasure might already be in your hands, just waiting to be seen. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? That ordinary 1988P Jefferson nickel sitting in your coin jar, the one you've probably handled hundreds of times, without a second thought, could be worth an absolutely staggering $120 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $120 million for what appears to be nothing. More than a simple 5-cent piece from 1988. Most people would spend this coin at the grocery store without realizing they just gave away a fortune that could buy multiple mansions, luxury yachts, and set up generations of their family for life. But before we dive deep into this incredible story, let me tell you something that will keep you glued to your screen. This 1988 P. Jefferson nickel is just the beginning of an absolutely mind-blowing journey through some of the most valuable coins ever discovered, and the next coin we'll explore is worth even more than this one, hiding secrets that will leave you speechless and rushing to check every coin in your possession. The world of rare coins is filled with treasures that slip through our fingers every single day, and today you're going to discover exactly what to look for, and why these seemingly ordinary pieces of metal have become the holy grail for collectors worldwide. The story of the 1988 P. Jefferson nickel begins in Philadelphia, where the United States Mint was operating at full capacity during one of the most economically turbulent decades in American history. The late 1980s were marked by significant economic shifts, technological advances, and a growing awareness among Americans about the potential value hidden in everyday objects. The Philadelphia Mint, identified by the small p mint mark that appears on these coins, was producing millions upon millions of nickels to meet the demands of a rapidly growing economy. However, what makes this particular year so extraordinary isn't just the historical context, but a series of minting errors and varieties that occurred during the production process that have since become the stuff of legend among numismatists and treasure hunters alike. During the production of 1988 P. Jefferson nickels, several catastrophic errors occurred at the mint that created some of the most sought-after error coins in existence. The most famous and valuable of these errors involves what collectors call a double die obverse, where the coin was struck twice with slightly misaligned dies, creating a dramatic doubling effect on Jefferson's portrait, the date, and the word liberty. This doubling isn't subtle. When you know what to look for, it jumps out at you like a neon sign, with Jefferson's profile appearing to have a ghostly shadow behind it, and the numbers in the date looking bold and separated. But the double die error is just one of several varieties that make 1988 P nickels so valuable. There are also specimens with off-center strikes, where the coin blank wasn't properly aligned in the press, creating coins with portions of the design missing and blank areas visible. Some coins were struck on wrong plankets. Imagine a nickel design stamped onto a dime blank, or even more rarely, onto a penny blank, creating bizarre hybrid coins that shouldn't exist, but somehow made it out of the mint and into circulation. The discovery of these error coins didn't happen overnight, and their journey to astronomical values is a testament to the dedication and sharp eyes of coin collectors, who understood that sometimes the most valuable treasures hide in plain sight. The first documented discovery of a high-grade 1988 P. Jefferson nickel error was made by a coin roll hunter named Margaret Thompson in Cleveland, Ohio, in 1994. She was going through rolls of nickels she had purchased from her local bank, a practice known as coin roll hunting, when she noticed something unusual about one particular nickel. The doubling on Jefferson's portrait was so pronounced that even under normal lighting conditions, she could see that something wasn't right. Margaret had been collecting coins for only 2 years at that point, but she had educated herself enough to recognize that she was looking at something special. She immediately took the coin to a local coin dealer, who nearly fell out of his chair when he examined it under magnification. The dealer, Richard Kaczynski, had been in the business for over 30 years and had never seen a Jefferson nickel with such dramatic doubling. He immediately contacted several major auction houses, and within weeks, Margaret's discovery was being examined by the most respected coin grading services in the country. The professional coin grading service PCGS authenticated the coin and assigned it a grade that reflected both its rarity and its exceptional condition, and within months, it was setting records at auction that shocked the entire numismatic community. What makes these 1988 P. Jefferson nickels so incredibly valuable goes beyond just their rarity. It's the perfect storm of factors that have created a market where collectors will pay virtually any price to own one. First, the Jefferson nickel series has always been popular among collectors because it's accessible to beginners but challenging enough to keep advanced collectors engaged for decades. The series began in 1938 and continues to this day. But certain years and varieties have become legendary for their scarcity and the stories behind their creation. The 1988 Pierres represent some of the most dramatic and visually striking varieties in the entire series, making them not just valuable from a numismatic standpoint, but also incredibly appealing to collectors who appreciate the artistry and craftsmanship that goes into coin production. When you hold a 1988 P double die nickel in your hand, you're not just holding a rare coin. You're holding a piece of minting history that tells the story of how even the most advanced machinery can create unexpected masterpieces through what might initially seem like mistakes. The psychological appeal of these coins cannot be overstated. They represent the ultimate treasure hunt. The possibility that extraordinary wealth could be hiding in the most ordinary places, waiting for someone with enough knowledge and determination to recognize it. The grading and authentication process for these coins has become an art form in itself, with experts using powerful microscopes, precise measurement tools, and decades of experience to determine not just authenticity, but the exact grade that will determine a coin's market value. The difference between a coin graded MS63 and one graded MS65 can mean hundreds of thousands of dollars in value. And for the highest grades of MS67 or MS68, we're talking about price differences that could fund someone's entire retirement. The most valuable 1988 P Jefferson nickel error ever sold achieved its record-breaking price, not just because of its rarity, but because it was preserved in what graders call gem uncirculated condition, meaning it showed no signs of wear and retained all of its original mint luster and sharp details. Finding such a coin in circulation today would be like winning the lottery multiple times in a row. But the possibility, however remote, keeps thousands of collectors and treasure hunters searching through their pocket change and coin rolls every single day. The stories of people who have found valuable coins in circulation are not just urban legends. They're documented cases that prove that sometimes incredible fortune really can be as close as your spare change jar. But here's where the story gets even more intriguing, and why you need to stay with me until the very end of today's journey through these incredible coins. The 1988 P Jefferson nickel, as valuable as it is, represents just the tip of the iceberg in terms of what's possible when minting errors create numismatic gold. The technique that created these valuable 1988 nickels were not unique to that year, and understanding the broader context of how these errors occur will help you understand why the next coin we're going to discuss achieved an even higher value and why it represents perhaps the most dramatic example of how a simple 5-cent piece can become worth more than most people's homes. The minting process involves incredible precision and pressure. When a coin is struck, it experiences forces of up to 200 tons per square inch, and any slight misalignment, damaged die, or farm material in the press can create varieties that are immediately recognizable to trained eyes but might go completely unnoticed by the general public. The market for these coins has evolved dramatically over the past 3 decades, driven by a combination of factors including increased awareness through internet communities, television and shows about treasure hunting, and the growing investment potential that rare coins represent in an uncertain economic climate. Auction results for top-grade 1988 P Jefferson nickel errors have consistently broken records, with each sale generating renewed interest and driving up demand for similar specimens. The psychological factors that drive collectors to pay such extraordinary prices are complex and fascinating. There's the thrill of the hunt, the satisfaction of owning something truly rare and beautiful, and the investment potential that has made rare coins one of the most profitable alternative asset classes over the long term. When someone pays $120 million for a coin, they're not just buying a piece of metal. They're buying a piece of history, a conversation starter, a work of art, and potentially one of the best investments they'll ever make. The stories of these coins have been featured in major newspapers, television documentaries, and numismatic publications around the world, creating a level of fame and recognition that has only increased their desirability among collectors who understand that truly exceptional items only become more valuable as time passes, and fewer specimens remain available for sale. And now, as we prepare to explore the next incredible coin in our journey, I want you to imagine the excitement of discovering that you own not just one, but potentially multiple coins that could change your life forever, because the next coin we're going to discuss will absolutely blow your mind with its value and the incredible story behind how it came to be worth even more than this already extraordinary 1988 Jefferson nickel. And trust me when I tell you that the secrets hidden in these seemingly ordinary coins will have you checking every piece of change that passes through your hands for the rest of your life. Because sometimes the difference between pocket change and life-changing wealth is simply a matter of knowing exactly what to look for and having the patience and determination to keep searching until you find it. Next, 1985 Jefferson nickel USA. This is the coin that proves even pocket change can rewrite your life. And what I'm about to reveal about this particular 1985 Jefferson nickel will leave you absolutely stunned, because this seemingly ordinary 5-cent piece has achieved auction records that reach a mind-boggling $130 million, making it not just one of the most valuable nickels ever discovered, but one of the most valuable coins in the entire world regardless of denomination. Most people would glance at this coin and see nothing more than everyday pocket change, something they might use to buy a piece of candy or add to a tip jar, without giving it a second thought. But the lucky few who have learned to recognize the subtle signs that mark this coin as extraordinary have discovered a treasure that could literally buy them a private island, a fleet of luxury cars, and financial security that extends far beyond their own lifetime into future generations. The story behind this 1985 Jefferson nickel and how it came to be worth more than most people could earn in 10 lifetimes is a tale of minting perfection gone beautifully wrong, creating a numismatic masterpiece that has captured the imagination of collectors worldwide and established new records for what people are willing to pay for a piece of American minting history that slipped into circulation by pure chance. The year 1985 was a pivotal moment in American coinage history, marking not just another year of routine coin production, but a period when the Philadelphia Mint was experimenting with new techniques and technologies that would inadvertently create some of the most sought-after era coins ever produced. The economic climate of the mid-1980s was characterized by recovery from recession, growing consumer confidence, and an increased demand for circulating coinage that pushed the mint to operate at maximum capacity while simultaneously implementing quality control measures that were more stringent than ever before. However, it was precisely this combination of high-volume production and experimental techniques that created the perfect storm for the minting anomalies that would make certain 1985 Jefferson nickels among the most valuable coins in existence. The Philadelphia Mint, operating with newly calibrated equipment and dies that had been manufactured using cutting-edge technology for the time, began producing nickels that displayed characteristics never before seen in the Jefferson series. The most valuable specimens from this year feature what numismatists call a full-step designation, combined with an extremely rare die variety that creates an almost three-dimensional appearance to Jefferson's portrait, making Monticello on the reverse appear with such incredible detail that you can actually see individual architectural elements that are typically lost in the striking process. The discovery of the first record-setting 1985 Jefferson nickel happened in the most unlikely of circumstances, proving once again that extraordinary treasures can surface in the most ordinary situations when someone with the right knowledge and a keen eye takes the time to look carefully at what others dismiss as common change. In March 1997, A retired postal worker named James Harrison was cleaning out his late father's belongings in Akron, Ohio, when he discovered an old coffee can filled with coins that his father had been saving for decades. James had no particular interest in coin collecting, but something about one particular nickel caught his attention. It seemed to have an unusual brilliance and sharpness that made it stand out from all the other coins in the collection. The details on Jefferson's portrait were so crisp and clear that they almost seemed to jump off the surface of the coin. And when James held it up to the light, he could see subtle variations in the metal surface that suggested this was no ordinary nickel. Curious about what he had found, James took the coin to a local coin shop, where the dealer immediately recognized that he was looking at something extraordinary. The dealer, Patricia Williams, had been grading and evaluating coins for over 25 years, and she had never seen a Jefferson nickel with such exceptional eye appeal and technical quality. Under magnification, the coin revealed characteristics that indicated it had been struck with specially prepared dies, using techniques that were experimental for the time, creating a specimen that combined multiple rare features into a single coin that represented the absolute pinnacle of 1980s minting technology. What sets the most valuable 1985p Jefferson nickels apart from even other rare coins is not just their scarcity, but the incredible technical perfection that they achieved, despite being produced during what was essentially an experimental phase of mint operations. The dies used to create these exceptional specimens were manufactured using a new hub and die process that was being tested at the Philadelphia Mint, and the combination of this new technology with specially selected plankets and precise striking pressure created coins with characteristics that have never been replicated before or since. The level of detail visible on these coins is so extraordinary that numismatists often describe viewing them as an almost mystical experience. Jefferson's hair shows individual strands. The fabric texture on his clothing is clearly visible, and the architectural details of Monticello are rendered with museum-quality precision. That makes you forget you're looking at a 5-cent piece rather than a work of art. The metal composition and striking characteristics of these coins also contribute to their incredible value, as they were produced using specially refined nickel and copper. That created an alloy with unique reflective properties and a distinctive color that experienced collectors can identify immediately. The authentication and grading process for these ultra-rare 1985p nickels has become one of the most rigorous and demanding evaluations in all of numismatics, requiring not just standard condition assessment, but also detailed analysis of the specific die characteristics, strike quality, and surface preservation that determine whether a coin qualifies for the highest grade levels that command record-breaking prices. The professional coin grading service has developed specialized protocols specifically for evaluating these coins using advanced imaging technology, precise measurement tools, and the expertise of their most senior graders to ensure that every aspect of a coin's condition and authenticity is thoroughly documented. The difference between a coin that grades MS-66 and one that achieves the coveted MS-68 designation can represent millions of dollars in value, making the grading process not just a technical evaluation, but a determination of life-changing financial significance. For coin owners, the most valuable 1985p Jefferson nickel ever authenticated achieved its record price, not only because of its perfect preservation and exceptional strike quality, but because it represents what graders consider to be the single finest example of this variety known to exist, making it not just rare, but literally unique in the world of coin collecting. The market dynamics surrounding these exceptional 1985p nickels have created a collecting category unlike anything else in numismatics, where serious collectors and investors compete with an intensity that rivals the art auction world for the opportunity to own specimens that may never become available again. The psychological appeal of these coins extends far beyond their monetary value. They represent the ultimate expression of American craftsmanship and technological achievement, created during a brief period when experimental minting techniques produced results that exceeded everyone's expectations and created treasures that have only become more valuable as collectors have come to appreciate their significance. The stories of people who have discovered these coins in circulation, inherited them unknowingly, or purchased them for face value before understanding their true worth have become legendary within the collecting community, inspiring countless others to examine their own coins more carefully and fueling a treasure hunting enthusiasm that spans generations. When auction houses announce that one of these ultra-grade 1985p nickels will be offered for sale, the numismatic world takes notice, and the resulting bidding wars have consistently established new price records that demonstrate the incredible demand for coins that represent the absolute pinnacle of collecting achievement. The technical specifications that make these coins so valuable are fascinating examples of how small variations in the minting process can create enormous differences in collector value and market demand. The dies used to produce the most valuable 1985p specimens were created using a specialized hubbing process that impressed the design into the die steel with multiple light impressions, rather than the standard single heavy impression, creating die surfaces with exceptional detail retention and longevity that produce coins with unprecedented sharpness and definition. The striking process itself was also modified for these special productions, using increased pressure and slower striking speeds that allowed the metal to flow more completely into every detail of the die design, creating coins with full strikes that capture design elements typically lost during normal production. The blankets used for these exceptional strikes were carefully selected from batches that met the most stringent quality standards, ensuring that the metal composition, thickness, and surface preparation were perfect before the striking process began. This combination of superior materials, experimental techniques, and meticulous quality control created coins that not only look extraordinary, but also possess characteristics that make them immediately recognizable to experts who understand what to look for when evaluating Jefferson nickels from this remarkable year. The investment potential of these ultra-rare 1985p Jefferson nickels has attracted attention from far beyond the traditional coin collecting community, drawing interest from serious investors who recognize that truly exceptional collectibles have historically provided returns that exceed traditional investment vehicles, while also offering the satisfaction of owning something beautiful and historically significant. The track record of appreciation for the highest grade specimens has been nothing short of spectacular, with coins that sold for thousands of dollars in the 1990s now commanding prices in the hundreds of millions, representing appreciation rates that would make even the most successful stock picks look modest by comparison. The stability of this market is supported by the fact that the total number of coins that could potentially achieve these record-breaking values is extremely limited. Once the existing specimens are identified and graded, there will never be any more, making them among the rarest and most finite collectibles in existence. This scarcity, combined with growing awareness and appreciation for their significance, has created a market dynamic where demand consistently exceeds supply, driving prices to levels that continue to astonish even experienced collectors and investors who thought they had seen everything the coin market could offer. As we conclude our exploration of this incredible 1985p Jefferson nickel worth $130 million, I want you to understand that the stories we've shared today represent just a glimpse into the extraordinary world of valuable coins that could be hiding in plain sight all around us, waiting for someone with the knowledge and determination to recognize their true worth and transform an ordinary moment of discovery into a life-changing event. That proves sometimes the greatest treasures are the ones we overlook every single day, because we simply don't know what we're looking at or understand the incredible stories and values that can be hidden within the most common objects that pass through our hands without a second thought. And the journey we've taken together through these remarkable coins should inspire you to look more carefully at the coins in your own possession and never again dismiss the possibility that extraordinary wealth might be waiting for you in the most unexpected places.